Team, we have to talk about the organization of our trucks, both in regards to our cabin and our camper. This topic should not be taken lightly, as our organization of vehicles influences not only our efficiency, but also our safety. For a cable technician, a working truck exerts two very important functions. It's a mobile warehouse and it's a workshop space where tools should be properly organized. Let's take a look at some good practices and rules. When it comes to the cabin, the basic rule is we should have no loose items in the cabin. Basically, cabin should be clean and free of debris. Otherwise, look at what may happen. Remember that a loose tool inside a truck may seriously hurt the driver. When it comes to the camper, materials and accessories should be stored in the side panels. In the main area of the camper, ideally, you should only have CPE, your 6-foot ladder if required, your tools in a tool bag, your PPE, cable spools, and any long materials such as U-guards, conduit, etc. In the center, we recommend that you have at least 3 plastic bins or boxes, 2 for the new CPE received daily, and 1 for the returns you pick up from customers' homes. Also in the center, near the rear end, you can place your tool bag. You can have your cable spools lined up in order of importance, beginning with the cable you use the most often. These should be placed on the left side of the camper. On the right side of the camper, near the rear end, you can have your cones and your PPE in one area. Any long material can also be placed on this side. The top right corner is where you place additional items you may not utilize very often, such as Cat 5, house boxes, etc. As ITG has a diversified fleet, some modifications are possible and sometimes needed. For instance, the F-150s have 2 side panels. Some technicians might choose to place their small CPE in this area. On the other hand, the minivans don't have side panels at all. Thus, a technician might need a set of small bins where his or her materials can be placed or on the provided shelf. Regardless of how your vehicle's limitations dictate your organization, one rule must be universally applied. You should verify that your truck isn't carrying any leftover items or any random junk. Look at what happens with one of our trucks after an accident. This technician was not maintaining his truck. It was not clean or properly organized. Leftover items flew all over the highway. Remember that an organized truck is the foundation of an efficient technician. Your truck is a mobile warehouse, and you should properly account and maintain an organized list of everything you have in your truck. It's not uncommon for techs to go to the warehouse asking for equipment they already have in their trucks. You should maintain a personal inventory of all the CPE you currently have under your buffer. Unlike what many people may think, efficiency and safety go hand in hand. Organization, methodology, and good practices are the foundation of an efficient and safe technician. The use of a cell phone while driving is often accompanied by a thought, an accident won't happen to me. But, of course, it can happen, and the consequences may be fatal to you and anyone around you. Let's take a look at some numbers. In 2017, the U.S. Department of Transportation stated that 9% of all crashes were reported as distraction-related crashes. Such distractions can be your cell phone, adjusting the radio or climate control, eating while driving. In 2017 alone, over 3,000 people were killed as a consequence of distracted driving. 14% of them were utilizing their cell phones. That's 433 fatalities related to cell phones. Still think it can't happen to you? An ITG technician spends a lot of time driving from one location to the other. For this reason, ITG provides some tools to make sure your hands remain on the wheel at all times. ITG provides a cell phone holder. If for any reason you don't have a cell phone holder or your cell phone holder is damaged, you should report this to your supervisor immediately. All cell phones are designed to behave as a self-controlled utility. That is, once the vehicle starts moving, the cell phone should automatically reply to any incoming message. It should let people know you are driving at the moment. All vehicles are equipped with a camera. Think of this drive cam as a constant reminder of how you should behave in the vehicle. And if you are not responsible for an accident, the camera can actually exonerate you from the accident. Unfortunately, we cannot predict all possible variables that lead to an accident. However, we can certainly do our part. Remember that driving a vehicle can be dangerous to you and the people around the vehicle. 19% of fatalities are pedestrians, cyclists, or people that are simply just not in a vehicle at all. You should never use the cell phone when you are driving. If you have to type a new address in your GPS for an address you're going to, you should stop the vehicle to do so. Let's drive responsibly, and never forget that ITG has a zero tolerance policy regarding use of cell phone while driving. The basic rule is simple. If the vehicle is moving, you cannot utilize your cell phone. If you have any questions about this topic, let your supervisor know and validate you have all your questions answered. Above all, as a team, we must work together and ensure we all arrive safely at home by the end of the day.
Driving in a car or truck can isolate you and give you a false sense of separation from the other vehicles around you. But because you and other vehicles are in motion, the potential for mishap is always present. This potential increases along with higher traffic volume and higher speeds. That's why you need to constantly establish and maintain a 360-degree space cushion or safety perimeter around your vehicle. You can start establishing this safety perimeter by using the 3 to 4 second rule for a safe following distance or interval when driving. Not only does this give you time to react, it prevents you from being billboarded and losing the ability to see the traffic ahead. Billboarding is when one vehicle blocks the vision of the driver of another vehicle. This can occur when your vehicle obscures the next lane. This may also occur if your view of an upcoming hazard is blocked or billboarded by a large vehicle in front of you. As you increase your following distance by using the 3 to 4 second rule, you create a space cushion. Space for the vehicle plus visibility for the driver equals time. Time to see what's going on around you, time to make a decision, and time to react appropriately. Increasing your following distance also prevents the driver ahead of you from becoming distracted or annoyed and losing his concentration on driving. The 3 to 4 second rule. Sufficient minimum following distance from the vehicle in front of you is established by using the 3 to 4 second rule. With the 3 second rule, you determine the proper following distance by noticing when the bumper of the vehicle ahead of you passes a fixed object, like a utility pole or a mark on the road, then counting 1001, 1002, and so on, until the front bumper of your vehicle reaches the same fixed object. The number you get to tells you how many seconds you are behind the vehicle. If you reach the object before counting 1003, you're following too closely. Time is used instead of linear distance measurement because it automatically adjusts your vehicle's position as your speed changes. The 3 to 4 second rule applies to normal driving conditions. If it's nighttime, raining, or you're in an unfamiliar vehicle, you should add at least 2 seconds. If the roads are icy or it's snowing, add several seconds. Common sense tells you to slow down and be careful in the presence of adverse weather conditions, such as rain, snow, fog, high wind, or at night. In adverse weather, visibility is decreased and stopping distances are increased. Safe driving in these conditions requires extra precautions. In most cases, reducing your speed and increasing your following distance will go a long way in making your travel safer. Skid control. Skidding occurs when your tires lose traction with the road surface. Uncontrolled skidding is responsible for thousands of deaths and injuries each year. Skids are most common in snow, wet, or icy conditions, but skidding can also be caused by drivers' actions, like driving too fast, heavy acceleration, sudden steering changes, or hard braking. Although you lose steering control in a front wheel or all-wheel skid, the vehicle tends to go on its original straight-ahead path, which makes it an easier skid to recover from. In a rear-wheel skid, the vehicle begins to spin out as the rear end of the vehicle tries to pass the front end. Virtually all vehicles are uncontrollable when they get approximately 17 to 20 degrees off axis from their original path. Once started, the chances of recovering from this type of skid are almost zero. Skidding in the form of a spin-out occurs when you enter a curve too fast for the conditions, and the tires don't have enough traction to overcome the centrifugal force of the curve. All too often, the skidding spin-out becomes a rollover. When there's water standing on the road, or the vehicle is traveling too fast for wet roadway conditions, hydroplaning can occur, as a wedge of water builds up under the tires, causing them to lose contact with the road. The more water on the road, or the more worn the tire treads, the more likely this is to occur. Once it starts, the driver has little to no control over the vehicle. Regardless of the type of skid, recover by taking your foot off the accelerator and the brake. Then, turn the wheel gently in the direction of the skid. For example, if the rear of the vehicle is sliding to the right, steer to the right so that the vehicle is going straight. This technique is called counter-steering, or steering into the skid. It's probably best described as steering in the direction you want to go. Once you've regained control, brake slowly and smoothly using the appropriate type of braking for your vehicle. But be careful not to panic and overreact. It could just make the situation worse. Tactics to reduce skidding. Continually scan the total driving environment for anything that might require you to stop or suddenly change your vehicle's position. Look 12 to 15 seconds ahead of your vehicle so you can recognize and identify any potential hazards that may require braking or changing your vehicle's position. Be prepared to take action early so that you won't have to make a sudden movement that could result in skidding. Be aware if the road is snowy, icy, muddy, or slippery, and adjust your speed and following distance to maintain a safe perimeter around your vehicle. Following these simple guidelines will give you ample time and space to think, act, and maneuver in a positive, controlled manner.
Hey team, we need to talk about a topic that as field techs you are faced with at every job you go to: parking. Let's not take this lightly. Our parking habits can negatively impact the quality of our customer service, our overall safety, and even our income. When it comes to parking, there are two basic scenarios. Techs usually have to park in a community of apartments or in a neighborhood of family homes. First, let's take a look at how we should park in an apartment community. In an effort to complete a job as quickly as possible, a technician might try to park the vehicle as close as possible to the job's address. However, some parking spots are usually reserved for residents, and in some communities, you might have to park in a commercial spot. If you are new to a community, you should find out what are the community's norms. Vehicles parked at a reserved spot or the wrong location may be towed by the property management. Another common mistake in apartment communities is failing to reverse into the parking spot. Although some communities do not allow you to reverse park, when possible, reverse parking is a requirement, and this will also make it easier and safer for you to leave later. Let's take a look at some norms we should follow when parking at an apartment community. When arriving, you should look for guest, visitor, or commercial parking, nearest to the customer's home. Having identified the location, you should look around and then, if allowed, reverse into the parking space. Utilize your horn whenever you judge there might be some pedestrians, such as kids, around. Then, you should place cones in front of your vehicle. These cones allow you to establish a protected area. The cones also have another function. When you finish your job, as you pick up your cones, you should do a 360-degree check of your vehicle. Now, let's take a look at how you should park in a residential area. Again, being in a rush, a tech may commit two basic mistakes. The first mistake is parking in the customer's driveway. Just because the driveway is empty, this does not mean, for example, that the customer isn't expecting somebody to arrive soon. Also, if your truck leaks oil on the driveway, your customer may file a complaint. Another common mistake is to park against the correct flow of traffic. That's dangerous because you may have incoming traffic going in the right direction. Also, if your vehicle is parked facing the wrong direction, you will have to pick up your ladder while standing in the middle of the street. So, let's do this right. When arriving at a house, you should correctly parallel park in front of the home. Do not park on the customer's grass. Many clients are proud of their front yards or lawns, and we don't want to create a bad first impression. You should utilize two cones that should be placed diagonally from the vehicle, about 4 feet. Just like in an apartment community, when you are leaving your job, as you pick up your cones, you should do a 360-degree check of your vehicle. Regardless of the situation, before pulling in and pulling out, you should always look around. Identify any potential danger. Make sure no pets or kids are around, for instance. If they are, verify that you see them and that you are seen. If needed, utilize your horn. Parking is something we have to do at every job, and it's important that we implement these norms to the point where they become habits.